What is up, folks? You're listening to the Texture Pop Podcast, unprofessionalism at its finest. I am your stand-in host for this week, Chris Acharya, as our fearless leader and super sleepy leader, Sam, is out for the evening. Like, he's totally out. Dude is working hard.
He's taking sleeping pills.
That too.
Out like a light.
So, hopefully he'll be with us next week, and hopefully he gets better. So, until then, the first thing we're going to cut right into is our email.
What about the two of us? Huh?
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Christ.
introductions. Whatever. Just fucking, I'm not perfect. But, so joining me, of course, I got my cohorts, Garrett.
Hello.
And Brandon.
Yesterday, I went outside without a jacket. Today, it's snowing. Mother Nature, I will not forget this betrayal.
You know what? That's not the only case, dude. Okay, so I came out of work yesterday, like this morning, which, you know, at the time of this recording, like, so Friday morning, fucking 6:30 a.m., because I work a night shift, and it's supposed to be the first day of spring, right?
Right.
It's fucking snowing.
I know, fucking hell.
I mean, and granted, it's not like any of it stuck around. It's still, everything is melting, still. But...
Yeah. Nature, why? Why, Nature, were you doing this?
For me, the answer is usually because we live in Ohio. I don't know what it's like for you in Delaware. Like...
This doesn't happen very often in Delaware, though it does happen sometimes.
I don't know, Garrett, you get any springtime snow? Just...
No, not really.
Well, you're the lucky one.
It's still snowing outside right now.
See, at least I don't have to worry about that. Like, it stops snowing for me. But, so, moving right along, we got some viewer questions this week. Remember, folks, you want to ask us something, maybe even just listen to us say shit on the air, then feel free to email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter and tweet at us at TheTexturePop.
Okay, so you'd probably be surprised to know this, but today's beer questions come from Brandon Perkins, a.k.a. Adonisus.
Yay. What's up, Brandon?
He writes, and I quote, "Hi, everyone. This week I have some questions that aren't quite as heavy as the one from last time. First of all, have any of you guys played Ori and the Blind Forest? I purchased this game earlier this week, and I have to say it is amazing, in all caps. Not only is it visually gorgeous, not only is the gameplay a virtually perfect example of Metroidvania design, it is also emotionally engaging. The first 10 minutes of the game were like the first 10 minutes of Up."
Yeah, I have not played it. However, I've seen footage of this game, I've read some reviews, and I totally want it.
Yes, same.
It looks fucking fantastic. It is...
It looks beautiful.
Oh my god, it is. Like, I don't know if Garrett, if you've seen any of it, or
whoever was in the art department,
I don't think so.
Whoever's in the art department for that game is definitely really good at their job.
It is. Yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest is a, like, not only does it look good.
Yeah. You know what? I saw that on Steam. I have it in my
Wish list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest. The thing I'm really glad about is not only is it just something that it's not just a pretty face. It actually has some really good gameplay to boot.
Yeah, I was afraid of that when I first saw the trailer. I thought it was going to be another one of those artsy games, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, aside from being on PC and Steam, I think this is also on Xbox One.
Yes, it's published by Microsoft Studios if I recall correctly, so it's on Xbox One.
I don't care. I can still play it on PC, so
exactly.
That's what matters to me. But yeah, the game looks fantastic. I think I speak for all of us when I say that it looks fucking amazing, and it is something we all want to play.
Yes.
Even Sam.
And he writes after that, as a follow-up, have you guys seen the trailer for Pixels? Does it look stupid, funny, or mediocre like most of Adam Sandler's movies?
Oh, I've not...
Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes.
I saw the trailer for it, and I went, I don't care.
For the audience members who were not aware, the whole premise of Pixels is that aliens are trying to invade the Earth, and they're doing so by materializing characters from classic arcade games like Space Invaders and Pac-Man into this world. That is the premise.
Adam Sandler, who was a world record score-breaking video game champion from like the 80s, is basically, he's called in to save the world.
Yes, because of course, being able to fight these guys in the arcade is equivalent to fighting them in the real world.
Of course. Like that episode of Futurama.
Yeah.
That this isn't ripping off in any way.
Yeah, this is not ripping it off, no.
It is an intriguing premise. The problem is that it's an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, like...
And I do not expect Adam Sandler to be particularly good anymore.
I mean, because I've watched the short film that the movie was kind of based around, to where it's just a short film of like pixelated classic arcade characters come to life and just start destroying things into pixels to the point where the very Earth itself gets turned into a giant cube. But yeah, like I've seen that, and then the idea of a movie, like, it kind of sounds interesting at first, but then you tell me it's an Adam Sandler movie, and I'm like,
that is the thing, though. It's a cool premise. Like, I like the premise behind it. It's just that I don't have any expectations from Adam Sandler anymore.
I mean, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt of the fact, like, because there are recent films that I've enjoyed that happen to have Adam Sandler in it, like Hotel Transylvania. I like that movie more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I'm glad that movie's getting a sequel.
Oh, it is? Nice.
Yeah, Hotel Transylvania 2 is getting a sequel. It looks kind of funny. I think it's kind of charming. But yeah, like, and the big thing with Adam Sandler is, I mean, for one, I can at least say, and I think we've had this conversation before, where like Adam Sandler, he's good when he is the straight man. He's not trying to play some caricature of something. Like, but even then, like in movies like Grown Ups, where it's just nothing but this juvenile, grotesque sense of humor to the point where it's like borderline offensive. Like,
yeah,
look, we'll make fun of this guy and make him the butt of every joke because his teeth are funny. Like, come on, guy. Like, really? Like,
or the guy clearly has a mental handicap, therefore he's good to make a joke out of.
Yeah, it's disgusting to say the least. But, you know, there are decent movies where Adam Sandler is just a normal dude that I have enjoyed watching. Like, I thought Bedtime Stories was okay. I thought Click was an okay movie.
I thought that was an alright movie.
Yeah, like those. So there's still potential for this to be a decent film if it's not going to carry the standard kind of Happy Madison movie tropes.
Yes.
Of not...
If he can rein himself in, it could be a good movie.
Yeah, if it's not like piss, dick, and fart jokes the whole way through, like.
Although the trailer looked like it wouldn't be too bad from what I saw of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's some room to be hopeful, but I'd be skeptical.
Because I mean, the premise itself is absurd. It's a hysterical premise, so there should be, in theory, a lot of really fun time to be had with it.
Probably. Like, I wouldn't expect the most out of this, but we'll see.
It should be. I would expect it to be decent, not great.
I mean, Garrett's reaction doesn't really give me high hopes either, but
no, it's Adam Sandler, right? my family absolutely loves him, and I have learned to despise him. I think his last Hotel Transylvania was good, but he only really provided a voice for it.
Yeah.
I think the last good movie he was in was like either Funny People or 50 First Dates, whichever one of those.
Yeah, because
his newest ones.
Weren't both of those films Judd Apatow movies? Like,
Funny. Yeah, I think so. It's just like Funny People was actually really funny.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's called Funny People. But on top of that, it's actually much more serious.
Yes,
and the person Adam Sandler is basically playing himself.
Yep,
it's really funny. Yeah, like these kids are watching a movie of his, and of course in the movie, okay, so he's like watching these kids, and these kids are watching one of the guys' movies, and it's Adam Sandler as a mermaid going like ooh, like making stupid noises, and he's like, so kids, what do you think? And one kid goes like, this fucking sucks. He goes, yep, yeah, that does. It's really funny. I'm like, that's a good scene. And then there were, the Spanglish, Punch Drunk Love, like all these like serious movies that he does. Reign Over Me, good movies. He can play a serious. He can play the serious man really well, and then you get into the comedy, and you've got like Little Nicky.
Yeah, that shit is where, like, and I'm sure we could go all day, but
he is a good straight man.
Yeah, and he used to be able to do comedy, and now whenever he does comedy, you get Jack and Jill, and I want to hit him with a truck.
Yeah.
No. What was There's one. If you like Grown Ups 2, fine. Hey, fat guy falls down. That's funny. There's one movie that I will outright hate a person if they like it, and that is what is it? It's the one where pedophilia is supposed to be funny.
What?
What the fuck is it? What's the name of that goddamn movie?
The first Grown Ups?
No, he's 12 and he has a kid.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's My Boy.
That's my boy. Thank you. If someone likes that movie, fuck you.
Yeah, that movie is garbage.
Not fucking funny. Yeah. Pedophilia isn't fucking funny.
Nope.
And people will. People are like, oh, that movie, it's okay because he's a boy and the teacher was a woman. It's like, okay, how about what if there was a guy?
It's still not cool.
Screwing a 12-year-old girl. You probably got the EBGBs from that, and that's the point because it's pedophilia and it's not funny.
Yeah, it's still not gross. Cool.
Yeah.
There's something.
I am really glad I have no idea what movie you're talking about because I've never seen it.
No, you should.
The movie's called That's My Boy, and it's bad.
Yeah, it had Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg in it, and you should avoid it like the plague. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I will take your advice on that.
I think it's worse than Jack and Jill because at least Jack and Jill didn't have pedophilia in it.
Yeah,
and at least Jack and Jill, pedophilia wasn't the central focus.
At least didn't have pedophilia in it.
Like that's the bar.
Title of this episode. By the way, this is the title of this episode.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to get fucking arrested. What do you do on the show? Oh God, this.
What's the name of your last episode? At least didn't have pedophilia in it.
So, any other questions? Just.
No, that was it. He just ends it with a thank you.
Okay, so remember, folks, if you
You're
want
welcome, Adonis.
Yes, thank you, Adonis. And remember, folks, like I said, if you want to email us, you can do so at thetexturepop@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter and tweet at us at thetexturepop. So, let's get into some news. Brandon, I know you got a couple things you want to touch on.
Yes, our first story for the evening is that, according to reports, Hideo Kojima will be leaving Konami.
And
according to the article here, he will finish out his term with Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. But then after that, he will no longer be working with Konami in game development. He may still be making games that will not involve Konami in any way.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, from what I understand was that, this is all speculation, so take everything with a grain of salt, is that I guess there were creative differences between him and Konami, and I guess Konami wasn't liking the idea of just how much control they were giving him. That's the speculation. That's one of proposed theories of why stuff like this is going down.
Konami really hasn't been relevant in a long time.
No, I mean, some of the last good things that they did were re-releasing some of their old games, and even then they kind of fucked that up. Like when they came out with that Zone of the Enders HD collection, and it was not that good.
Yeah.
Like, you had one job, put 2 good games on one disc, and you fucked that up. Like, how?
Yeah, like I said, not Ubisoft, Konami hasn't been important in a long time. They're so unimportant that I don't even think of them when I think of games anymore.
No, they really have they're kind of in the same boat with Capcom. I mean, at least Capcom is...
Capcom does have some relevancy still.
I guess, yeah, but like Konami, they have fallen so fucking far from what they used to be. And I wouldn't be surprised if the case is more of Kojima just wants to get the fuck out, along with a number of other developers that, I think every other week we've been talking about how, like, you have these big name producers that just want to get out of the fucking industry. In Japan, the story's no different.
Yeah, again, it's just like, I wonder how well Metal Gear will do without him in it, without him doing it, because he is pretty much the person behind Metal Gear. Without him directing it, I don't know what it could really be.
I mean, the only other thing that Konami really has going for them right now, I mean, especially after this game ships, the other thing they have to look forward to is, the next big Silent Hill game, which has been teased with PT.
Which was supposed to be done with Kojima.
Oh god, yeah, that's true. That's right, because he was supposed to be...
That was the whole reason people were excited about it, because it was like Kojima doing Silent Hill.
Like, Kojima collaborating with Guillermo del Toro. Like,
yeah, which was going to be awesome.
But apparently not anymore, because after Phantom Pain, he's done.
Shit. Yeah, because I think if you look at, like, what franchises Konami actively gives a shit about right now, like Metal Gear and Silent Hill and
basically with him gone, Konami has just signed their death warrant.
I mean, Castlevania, they put out Lords of Shadow 2, which I have maybe not on this show, but Lords of Shadow 2 was not really that good, and it wasn't.
That was our previous endeavor.
Yeah, and it was not setting the world on fire, just to kind of set the record straight.
Yeah.
If anything, that last game probably would have left a bad taste in a number of people's mouths. But, there was that, and it's like, they've not done anything with Contra, in recent years. Yeah, it's like, what all does Konami still have? I mean, I think they still
aside from Kojima, what they really don't have a lot going for them.
I mean, don't they still make, like, fucking dance games and shit? I don't know exactly.
Dance Revolution?
I don't know if that's them or not.
I thought it was.
I think it is too, but it's not like DDR is really setting the world on fire at the moment either, so excuse me. They
really are kind of fucked now.
Yeah,
without Kojima.
I wouldn't be surprised if Konami just straight up ends up getting sold off to like some bigger company, or if somebody ends up buying them up, or who knows.
They probably need that right now, honestly.
I would fucking laugh if Nintendo was like, oh hey, we'll buy you, give us Contra and the rights to all your shit, and then, like, if Nintendo owned Castlevania, I'd be totally fine with that.
I don't think I would be too mad about that, because I mean, Castlevania is really not a thing that I'm really interested in either way.
I mean, when I think of Konami, it used to be like, Castlevania, Contra, fucking Metal Gear, and all that stuff. Like, if Nintendo just owned all that,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some people that would be pissed, or rightfully so. But and it's not like I don't think Nintendo has said anything about wanting to buy them either. But at the same time, Konami, I'm pretty sure, is just one of those companies that's just fighting not to get sold.
Yeah, right now they are probably in some deep shit, because again, what do they have aside from Metal Gear and Kojima? What do they honestly, seriously have? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
I mean, Team Silent abandoned ship years ago. That was...
Yeah, Silent Hill is... And again, who's going to do the new Silent Hill game without Kojima? Because that was supposed to be him. Like, people were all excited because it was Kojima doing Silent Hill.
Yep.
Yeah, I was excited. I thought that wasn't part of Kojima. I knew Kojima was part of that. I didn't think he abandoned ship on that. I thought he would just abandon ship on other... I don't know.
I mean,
that really sucks,
like, he's gone.
I mean, shit, just thinking of the very first Lords of Shadow game, the first one that came out, Kojima was part of that. So, fucking, yeah, he's had...
Everything that Konami has done right has had Kojima's hand in it in some way.
Pretty much. Just, I don't know. Just... And I would kind of hope that, whatever Kojima decides to do, he just finally gets a chance to just have some peace and quiet, and chill, relax, whatever, retire, do something else. Just Because I wouldn't be surprised if he's just done with games, like, or if he decides to go indie, who knows?
It wouldn't be the first time.
Nope.
So the other news story we have is a new service that PlayStation has announced that they are beta testing now called PlayStation Vue. That is capital VUE, Vue.
I keep wanting to think of Voodoo, which was like VUDU, which is like it's like this digital movie service where like sometimes you buy a DVD and it's like, oh, you get the digital copy, and it's through like fucking Voodoo. Unless I'm wrong.
I know, yeah, VUDU.
Yeah. So
now for PlayStation Vue, and I'm getting really sick of saying that already. We have a couple of channels that we know are going to be partnered with it. We know CBS, Discovery, Fox, NBC, and Viacom will be part of this service. And we know a couple of other ones are going to be involved, but we don't know the exact ones per se. Now, there are going to be 3 packages to this, and you're going to laugh when I talk about them because they're kind of silly. The first package, called the Access package, will be $50 a month, and it will include CBS, Fox, NBC, as well as other channels, 45 channels, including the Discovery Channel, Fox News, Food Network, TNT, and Nickelodeon. So, like, 48 channels for $50 per month.
I don't really know about that. I don't know. So, what are some of these other fucking channel packages that they have before I...
The core package, which costs $60 per month, includes the Access package plus regional sports channels.
Okay.
The Elite package is $70 per month and includes the Access and core packages, as well as, and I'm quoting this from the news story, 25 lifestyle, music, and family channels.
What?
So, I saw this, and I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
because
seems, yeah,
this is pretty much the same problem PlayStation Now has.
Oh, God.
In that it is blatantly overpriced.
Yep.
Blatantly, disgustingly, willfully, awfully overpriced.
I mean, and the thing is, like, I know we talked about Powers last week, to where Sony, like, having original shows on PSN as their service, like, that's not a terrible idea, especially because if any of the video game console makers right now had the ability to make their own TVs and stuff, like, exclusive on their online service, Sony's in the best position to do it because of the studios and things that they own. But outright trying to, like, be, like, the next big, like, cable thing, especially in an era where people are slowly not really giving a shit about cable TV.
Yes.
Like,
I would just like to, really quick, just ran into a custom game in League, 60 frames a second. It's back.
Yay! Garrett was having PC troubles earlier.
I want to mention the very top comment on this story, on the Destructoid story, is, guys, check this out. PS Vue is free, and they have a link to YouTube.com.
Oh, man.
Since there's a YouTube app on the PlayStation 4,
yes.
there is like a very strong case to make with that argument. Like, who is this for and why?
Like, it kind of boils down to the whole thing of, like, the fucking Xbox One of, like, you can watch your TV shows and everything through your Xbone, but why do I need to when I need to have stuff? I mean, I guess, like, it's a little bit smarter in the fact of, well, you don't already need to have cable service. We can provide that for you now, which I can kind of understand that. But, like, I'm sure there's a number of people...
You're not getting ABC. That's one of the big stations.
Yeah, it's Disney right there.
Yeah.
to people who, like, if you're going to try to win, I mean, because the big thing right now, for people who get their channels like this from elsewhere, like, you know, whether it's DirecTV or Dish Network, what have you, how you're going to win them over with this is basically price and the stuff that you offer, which honestly, I don't know if this is even going to compete that well.
And here's my favorite question I love to ask when these kind of services come out is, why would I choose this over Netflix?
Pretty much, yeah, and that's the big thing.
Yeah, that's a good question.
For 3 times the price, I could get significantly less
Yep.
than I do for my Netflix account.
I mean,
And any of these shows, if I really wanted them, I could just pirate them.
yeah. Not that we advocate piracy, mind you, but...
But it is something you have to consider when doing this, because you got to consider the fact that you are competing against a free service.
Kind of, yes. But granted... excuse me.
Or a cheap service like Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Netflix, from what I understand, it's like they're only getting better. Especially with, like, some of the original shows that...
Like, you don't hear a single person ever complain about Netflix.
I mean...
Well, not rarely.
Yeah,
not to the degree that the other services out there get complained about.
I mean, what's interesting is the fact, like... Yeah, because, like, Netflix, they have original shows, and from what I've been hearing, a lot of people seem to like them.
Yeah.
Like, House of Cards, BoJack
Orange is
Horseman...
the New Black.
Yeah, freaking... They have deals with Marvel. They're going to bring Daredevil and Luke Cage.
Yeah, they have enough clout now to get those kinds of deals.
Absolutely. Fucking Netflix got Kevin Spacey, and that was all they needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's... I mean, and that was kind of the thing where I thought it was an interesting precedent of, like, Sony having Powers on PlayStation Network as, like, its original thing of this idea of, like, if Nintendo and Microsoft wanted to do this, which obviously I don't think they could. Nintendo especially, because Nintendo, they are straight up a video game company. And granted, you know, the stories of Nintendo teaming up with Netflix to try to make a live-action Zelda series, which I'm still interested to see. But Microsoft, and I know they've been teasing the idea of wanting to do a live-action Halo series, yet I don't think that's seen the light of day yet.
That hasn't materialized yet.
Nope.
That has yet to materialize.
So... I don't know, it's interesting. The idea, yeah. So really the big issue with Sony is they have to win, like, aside from the people who either prefer to watch YouTube or Netflix, the other people that they have to worry about trying to win over is people that already have
cable.
Yeah. Like, how are you going to win them over? What is
cable or any of the other big things like Dish or whatnot.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can...
Like, I just don't know how they could make this profitable enough to work. Like, I don't see why they would even waste their time, honestly.
I don't know. Like, I mean,
I'm not seeing the angle here that works out in their favor.
I mean, am I going to be able to watch this shit on my PS4? What's...
Well, yeah, it's going to be on your PS4.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the thing that you can do. You can watch this shit from your PS4 directly.
I mean, I can kind of see that to where, I don't know, like, I guess if somebody buys a PS4 and they don't want to bother with cable, then maybe...
Even still, there is a Netflix app on the PS4.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going back to square one in that case.
Welcome back, Garrett. But yeah, and if you are like me, you prefer to watch stuff on YouTube as opposed to anything else these days, because
Yeah, that's where most of my watching comes from nowadays is the YouTube.
Yeah, I'll fucking watch Continue Show and Game Grumps and all that stuff like all damn day. Or hell, even my own videos, because yes, I'm that egotistical. But that's aside the point.
Well, I watch my own stuff too because I have to actually like do things with it.
Because you can watch Interactive Friction on YouTube.
Yes.
It's Brandon and Sam tackle games.
You guys should watch that because it's fun. I have to because I have the right posts on it.
You should watch it because it's fun too, idiot.
Yeah, it is fun. Oh God, yes, I love watching it. Well, I mean, I don't have a choice, but I'm glad I don't have a choice. It's a good show.
But yeah, Garrett, any thoughts on this? Just
Not really. Like I'll be honest. I kind of missed a lot because it's because I was gone.
No, it's cool, but like the idea of like Sony having a TV service.
Oh yeah, the Sony Vue. I don't know. I don't know. Xbox doesn't do anything like that. It just hosts Netflix.
Yeah.
I think
With
they should have
Xbox,
done
you can literally throw your cable into the Xbox One, and it will work.
But it's like,
yeah,
why?
I don't. Yeah, I don't get the point of this. I think
Where did
Netflix
you come from?
is a better, cheaper option. And I don't see why people would.
Oh,
use it.
it's definitely not cheaper.
I mean, hell,
Yeah.
even for people who don't even own a video games console, people who have a smart TV, and they just get Netflix through it. Why the fuck should they care?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I don't really see an angle where Sony wins with this.
Yeah. So who knows? I
They're
guess we'll find out.
Pretty much guaranteed to lose.
I think with that, that's gonna do it for news for us, and so we can get into our regular shenanigans. So, Garrett,
Yes.
how's your week been going?
It's been going well outside of my computer, and then on my computer, it's been kind of going weird.
Yeah, we were discussing a little bit about this for the show. Having some video card troubles.
Yeah. NVIDIA recently released a brand new update. Ironically, this update came out at the exact same time that they released the brand new
Titan
Titan
X.
X.
Yeah.
Which I was like, I didn't know the Titan X was so new. I was like, oh yeah, the Titan. I remember this. Why is this getting news again? And then I looked and I was like, oh, this is a new Titan. This is actually the second or third Titan that they've released. And I was like, wow, this thing is $1,000 just like the old Titan, but it has better stats. It has better statistics, or specs rather. So
yeah.
Anyway, so oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, it's like I just don't see the point in spending that much money on a video card when
Yeah.
like if you're just gonna replace that shit in like, I don't know, 2 years. I don't know, like
I wouldn't. I would buy the Titan X and stick with that thing for quite a while.
I'd like to say you'd at least get 5 or 6 years out of that.
Yeah,
Give or take.
And I mean, I have an NVIDIA 975, and I'm on my computer, and I'll play Watch Dogs at medium, and I'll get 60, like I'll get like at least 45 frames. I play Guild Wars 2 on highest settings. I play League at highest settings. I get 60 frames a second, and only the first block and a half are filled. Like, it's fine.
To your credit, Watch Dogs was poorly optimized, so
I played at medium, and I'm like, hey, it looks nice. I could play it at high, but I think it actually looks better on medium. I don't know why.
yeah, like I said, that game was poorly optimized. Like, I still remember Total Biscuit's video of he tried to crank it as much as he could possibly go with like a machine with 2 Titans in it, and it was still like you could not get 60 frames per second out of that to save your life. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I just but yes, but your week.
But anyway, so the what I had to do was I rolled back my entire system. Now everything worked okay. Oh, anyway, here I might as well say why I rolled it back. I went to play Guild Wars 2, and I said, "Wow, this looks like shit." And then I played it, and it was worse. I typically get about 48 frames a second on high settings in Guild Wars 2.
I'm listening.
I got 17 frames a second.
Ooh.
And when I went into a boss, there was a boss battle. There was a swamp monster that everyone was gathering around. I was getting like 3 frames a second. I could not play.
Ooh.
So on the character startup alone, it was 22 frames a second. I was like, it looks janky and weird. So and then I was playing League of Legends, highest settings. I always do. And first, it didn't work. League of Legends didn't even load up. I went to connect to a game. And you've played, Chris, so you know what I'm talking about. You go to connect to a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you have like your UI, and then it actually like boots up like the actual game itself. Like,
yes, you're in the launcher, and you click you wait, and then the timer runs down, and then the launcher closes, and then it pops up the League of Legends logo, and then that quickly disappears, and then your whole screen goes black, and then it starts loading up the game. Mine would count down the timer, and then you'd hear the gong or whatever, and it would close out of the launcher, and that was it. I wouldn't get the logo popping up. I wouldn't get the black screen. It would just close out of the launcher.
Ouch.
And then when I opened up the launcher, or the client rather, it would say it would ask me. It would be like, you exited out of a game, or like you whatever. It's like, you want to try and reconnect, and I'd click reconnect, and it would immediately close again. So I don't know what was going on. And then once I fixed that, I repaired, and I was able to fix it. So once I fixed that, then I was capping at 30 frames a second.
Ouch.
I don't know what was going on. So I did a rollback of the entire system, and that didn't work. What ended up working was I rolled back specifically the NVIDIA update.
Yep.
and that, for some reason, worked. So now I'm getting 60 frames a second again in League, and I'm getting my full frames a second in Guild Wars 2 and Warframe and all my other games. So whatever. But yeah, so I'm having some weird computer stuff going on.
So here's my question. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, like, first of all, do you use like the whole NVIDIA like GeForce experience, that this shit that they bundle now? Like,
I mean, it's a good program.
Yeah. So when you have that check for drivers, do you let it check for beta drivers?
I don't know.
Because I know they have that option to where it's like there'll be like the full-on drivers that are like,
I see what you're thinking.
Yeah. Because sometimes they will allow for beta drivers to be put out, and you can download those when they're available.
But if they don't work, that's your fault. Because
if they end up causing problems, then yeah. So yeah. Because I wonder if that was the case. I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't know. It could have been the NVIDIA update, because when I rolled that back specifically, it started working. That's what I was
wondering
doing
if it's an official update or a beta update.
I don't know. But I don't know. But and then there was another thing though. I downloaded Open Broadcaster from the Twitch website because I wanted to. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to be streaming.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I've finally manned up enough to where I'm like, I don't care if people hate me. I'm going to stream on Twitch. Just be goofing around. And oddly enough, it's Open Broadcaster. Downloaded it. Everything was fine. However, then my computer restarted, and it said, "Hey, you have WebRoot said, hey, there are 2 viruses on your computer now. You want me to remove them?" And I said, sure. And so I removed them. And then later on, the computer stuff started happening, and I thought that was weird. So I rolled back, restarted. I only rolled back the NVIDIA, restarted. Hey, you have these 2 viruses still on your computer. Do you want me to remove them? Like, didn't you just do that? And this would happen a lot, and they were the same viruses. I don't know if they're the things that are causing this problem. I don't know if they came with Open Broadcaster. I don't know how I'm going to stream now. Because now I'm scared to mess with anything, because I finally got it working again, and NVIDIA's like, "Hey, there's a new driver." I'm going, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And it's like I'm never updating you again. And I'm never restarting my computer. I'm never turning it off or anything. It's going to stay on forever. And I'm also nervous because I'm nervous to download Open Broadcaster. I don't know how I'll stream without it, but I'm nervous to download it because I don't want a virus to come on my computer. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so my computer's working now. Might get the courage and try downloading Open Broadcaster again, or maybe I'll try downloading something else. I don't know.
I would say that, before downloading it again, like, create some kind of restore point before you do any of that. That way, right. Like, if it fucks up again, you can kind of go back to that.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna do that now. But other than that, Sam posted about a flash sale going on right now on PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's a good one, too.
Yeah, and I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. So I showed my friends that. A friend of mine, Kendall, he's downloading Tokyo Jungle.
Oh, I have that.
I remember that game. I didn't play it very long, but it was interesting.
A friend of mine is like, I have no interest in this game, but I don't have a PlayStation 3, so he's downloading it. So when I go to his house next, I can play it. I was like, thank you. He's like, it's 96 cents. You have to thank me. I was like, oh
shit.
So,
Yeah, like all the games of the Flash are like less than $1 right now.
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I popped into my PSP to get some of the PlayStation games, and I was like,
Nice.
I'm just gonna pop around. I might download Wild Arms, Dino Crisis.
Wild Arms is a good RPG. You should get it.
Oh yeah, I have it. Because I said, I wonder if I have any money still in my Steam wallet. I forget. Open it up, I got $3. I'm like, oh. So I bought 3 games. I bought Dino Crisis 1, Dino Crisis 2, and Wild Arms.
Yeah, Wild
Nice.
Arms 3 is my favorite game of all time, but the other two before it were really good.
Yeah, I wanted to download a fighting game. Not Tekken. I'm not a huge fan of Tekken, honestly, but I wanted to download that. And then I wanted to download Chrono Trigger, but of course Chrono Trigger's not on sale. I'm like, oh.
There will be other times.
And I have it on DS anyway.
Yeah,
but still,
yeah.
I want it on my PSP.
I would say the DS is probably the best one simply because you get all the
Yeah,
extra
because
stuff.
PS1 loading times were awful.
You don't
Oh,
get that
yeah.
on DS. No loading times.
There are actually a bunch of games that I still want on my PSP. Oh, Deadhead Fred is now 96 cents. Like, I bought the physical copy of that game for full price when it came out. Oh well, that was actually one of my first PSP games. That and Daxter, and
Ooh,
both
nice.
those are awesome.
Daxter was one of my first two.
My first was.
Oh my god.
My first was Luminous. So.
And then I got
what
to
else
get
was
the
there?
medieval remake.
Oh, I don't have it with me. It must still be in New York. I also had a Star Trek game. It was like picture a 3D faster than light. That's pretty much what it was. It was really fun. And also, let's see here. What else? Killzone Liberation, and there it is. Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops Plus, which I hated. I didn't like Portable Ops Plus. I love Peace Walker.
Yeah.
Peace Walker's fantastic. Portable Ops Plus isn't. I don't know why. It just felt bad.
Yeah, I remember playing some of the original Portable Ops before they came out with like the Plus version, and I tried to play the Plus version for like so long, and I just did not know what the fuck to do. It was just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also downloaded, or not downloaded. I opened up my PSP. Thing was dead. I was like, I'm sorry. So I plugged it in, and I was reading through my comics because they got rid of Comic Zone. So I still have a PSP with Comic Zone on it when they came up with that. And I was reading Leviathan, and I was reading Kick-Ass, and I'm like, oh man. I remember I was downloading this. I remember I was in my car. I mean, we didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was in my car outside of the library in my car in the rain, like downloading because the place was closed, but they always left their Wi-Fi on, and I'm downloading Kick-Ass. And then let's see. Been playing Warframe, been playing League, been playing Guild Wars 2. Made a Necromancer Char. He's a lot of fun using dagger and focus items. And got my temporary driver's license today.
Ooh.
And
drive.
Oh yeah. Because I have a full driver's license for North Carolina, but for New York, but for North Carolina, for North Carolina, I need it. Yeah, so I had to go take it for North Carolina, but I passed with flying colors, so it's going to be coming in the mail. And then also paid off we're taking a trip to a game convention in Raleigh.
Ooh.
And we'll be doing that. And I think, did I mention last week that I got sick?
Yeah, you did.
I did? Okay. Then I'm pretty sure my week is done. I apologize for it going on for so long.
No, that's cool.
No
Yeah, lots of good stuff going on outside of my computer, but then on my computer, lots of freaky stuff going on. So
hopefully you'll get that fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brandon.
Yes, sir.
You have some shenanigans that you've been up to that I'm eager to hear about.
I played 2 games this week. People who have watched the previous 2 weeks will probably be not surprised at all to know that I have finished Dragon Age 2 this week.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I do like the game, but god damn that ending. That is shitting the bed.
Yeah, I want to go on record as saying as that, you know what, fuck it. Next time Sam is here, we're just going to talk about this again. Because we need to have this debate. Because anybody who listens to us know that Sam and I have bickered back and forth, much in the same way that Brandon and Sam have bickered back and forth over which is best Persona. Whereas, you know, but as far as Sam and I, you know, I'm of the opinion Dragon Age 2 was shit. Whereas he seems to enjoy it. Why, I don't know. But
well, the one thing I noticed a lot as I was playing the Dragon Age that I probably took time to write down in my last note taking is that throughout the game they use blood magic to explain why the Templars are so crazy. Like,
yeah,
because there's so many blood mages in Kirkwall that they're crazy. But when you actually think about a lot of the blood mages in the game, there was no real reason for them to use blood magic.
Not really, no.
Like, especially in the end, Orsino's when you're fighting with Orsino, because I chose to fight with the mages, and he's like, "Well, if we're gonna make us use, if they're gonna want us to use blood magic, then we're gonna use blood magic." And I'm sitting there like, "What are you talking about, guy? We're winning." There's no reason for you to do that. And then you just make me work harder because now I gotta kick your ass.
Yep. Oh, man.
Man, that was frustrating.
So
and then they explain that the head bitch of the Templars is crazy because she has a sword made out of the evil bitch you took from the Deep Roads in the very first part of the game, which that's a nice callback, I'll admit. But the thing with that is that she already had a pretty good justification for doing what she did. You didn't need to make her crazy. That didn't need to happen.
Nope, they had to keep pushing her over that proverbial edge to just...
And of course, again, that wouldn't happen if fucking Anders, fuck him.
Yeah. The fucking hero of the day.
He destroyed the one person I actually did want to side with.
Yep.
It's like... Orsino is sitting there like, yeah, the mages are great. We need to free them all because they're all good. And Merida's like, well, no, we need to free them all because, you know, blood magic is a thing. And then there's the woman in the middle, the head of the church going, you know what, guys, let's calm down for a second. And let's talk about this, okay? Let's calm down. And I'm like, yeah, side with her. She makes sense. Let's fucking calm down because you two are fucking crazy. And then Anders, boom.
Yep.
Because, you know, with justice in his mind, he's like, no, we can't compromise.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill him.
Yep. Oh, did you?
But at the same time, I needed a very strong mage in my party for the final battle. And Meryl wasn't trained as well as she should have been. So, even though I wanted to kill him, practical concerns... You know.
Oh man, it's so stupid. Like, because it's a fucking video game, I need you in my party still, despite the fact that you're a piece of shit.
I really want you dead.
Yeah.
I really want you dead. And then he's like, wait, you're not killing me after that? Seriously? Really? I'm like, shut up, Anders, don't rub it in.
If only, like, there's a dialogue option of, like, I still need a good mage, so...
I mean, I'm a mage, but you have my second best mage equipment. And I can't just transfer that to Meryl after you die, so... Fuck, I guess I'm stuck with you.
Oh man, that's great.
And I managed to get Aveline to work with me, even though she's normally pro-Templar. Because Aveline and I had become good bros over the course of the game.
Man,
I liked her character.
I keep wanting to think of Assassin's Creed Liberation HD when you mention her name, like...
So do I.
But still.
But yeah, man, and Fenris, I don't care. Fuck him. He can join the Templars, and I cut him down. Because, I don't really care about him. He was in my party like twice in the first act, and then never again.
I thought Fenris was alright.
He's alright. He's just not something I give a shit about. But aside from, like, the head-splitting stupidity of the final conflict, I actually don't hate the game as a whole.
Huh.
Like, I found Dragon Age Origins to be the slowest, most dull thing to play when it wasn't at the talky bits.
I mean, Origin was a lot more methodical in its approach to combat and the like because, as I had mentioned before in previous discussions, is that the game was mostly trying to be a callback to PC RPGs of yore.
It's trying to be Baldur's Gate 2, and the problem with that is that I hate Baldur's Gate 2. I notoriously hate Baldur's Gate 2.
But like Dragon Age 2 was, you rush in, hold down a few buttons, and there you go.
And it's such a smoother, faster fighting that even though it bogs you down with waves, it still ends up being faster than Origins combat was. And the game overall is not as long. Like Origins took me about 50 hours to beat, if memory serves, whereas Dragon Age 2 took me around 30. 30 may seem like a long length for a game, but for an RPG, that's actually very tame.
I mean, I don't like to usually pick on a game because of its length. But
I don't normally, but like 50 hours is starting to piss me off.
Yeah. I will pick on Dragon Age 2 for a number of other things, like go to the same fucking cave 500 times.
I didn't like that, admittedly. I really didn't, but at the same time, I understand why that's there, because especially when you look at the end, it's clearly a rushed game.
I hope you like being in the city of Kirkwall, because you won't go any fucking where else.
I actually didn't mind that, honestly. Like, I didn't mind that the whole game was took place in Kirkwall, because I thought it was cool the way you see the city evolve over the course of years.
To me, and my big disappointment, a lot of it was that, I mean, I felt like the story was just filler for like, okay, so here's where the real combat, or the real story starts. But that was basically when the game ended. Yeah,
I can see that. Like, Act 1 is the worst act in the game.
Yep.
By far. Like, it is just literally do side quests until you have enough money to get to the next act. That's literally the entire first act, is I need money to do the thing at the end, so I need to do quests to build up money.
Yeah.
And the second and third acts are a bit better about that, because they end up tying out loose ends around the city of Kirkwall. Like, the second act is mostly about you dealing with the Qunari threat, which is good because it teaches you a bit more about the Qunari than Origins did. So that was nice. And then the third act introduces you to the main Templar-based comic, which has always been a subplot up until that point, but now we've made that a main issue, because you kind of saw that coming if you were paying any sort of attention.
My thing with Dragon Age 2 was it felt like this really long, drawn-out origin story of this character that, from what I understand, we'll see him again, but it's not like we're going to be playing that character again, so why the fuck? And compared to the previous game, where I got to trot all around this crazy, awesome world, and the crazy shit that went on in it, and all these different places and locations I got to visit and go to and do all these things. Dragon Age 2 is one fucking city and the same cave and these same woods that I'll be trouncing around for several fucking times because they recycle it. It just...
I never really saw Dragon Age 2 as like Hawke's origin story. I saw it more as a story about the city of Kirkwall, with you just happen to play as Hawke because he happens to be the one guy that like is in the middle of everything. But it's not his story; it's the city's story.
I guess. I mean, even still, it had some big fucking shoes to fill after Dragon Age Origins,
and it is clearly a rushed game. Again,
yes.
repetitious environments and the story really kind of shitting itself at the end,
Yep.
clearly trying to wrap up loose ends.
Yep. Like Anders having to blow up shit for no reason.
They try to justify that by saying that it's because justice is so binary in his thinking. Either something is completely right or completely wrong, and there is absolutely no middle ground. But it just doesn't come across as like something that really works.
What is that squeaking sound?
That's probably my recliner.
Yeah, yeah. I was noticing that. I was like, it's not me. Like, whoops.
Oopsies.
Yeah, so...
So I don't think it's a bad game. It's just it was held back by a very clearly limited timetable, like where you can't stand it and Sam really likes it. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, because I will say, if anything, love it or hate it, the game is still a disappointment compared to the first one.
Well, I didn't honestly like the first one all that much.
Well,
so
you and I are just on different pages then, I guess. So
yeah,
that's really all we could say.
I love the first part when you did the talkie stuff. I hated the first game when it came to anything besides the talkie stuff. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Like, because the first game, you could spend literally hours without making a single hint of progress. Like, you could like spend an entire like 3-hour game session and still be in the same fucking dungeon you were when you started it.
Oh God.
You know I'm not lying.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you mean.
Like, I have found that over the years, pacing has become more and more of an issue for me because so many games get that very simple thing wrong.
Yep.
It's a very common mistake that games make when it comes to pacing. And Origins had terrible pacing.
So do you think you'll play the DLC for Dragon Age 2?
No. Because, and I've said this before, like, if you can't be bothered to make an Ultimate Edition, buy now.
Yeah, that's true.
Seriously. Like, it's been how many years since Dragon Age 2 came out?
Yeah.
There
Quite
was
a
no
while.
reason for it to not all be in a collection at this point.
No. Like, even on Origin, they still do that same shit of...
Yeah.
You can only buy the game separately, and then, like, all the other stuff you have to
I'm
buy.
not going to spend BioWare points.
Yeah, which is really stupid.
That's not going to happen, Origins. You can stop pretending that it will.
Yeah, I do not get that at all. So what else did you play?
The other game I played and I finished this week was Valiant Hearts: The Great War.
Mm-hmm.
It is an interesting game. It is also a very confusing game. And I say that because I'm not exactly sure what it wanted to accomplish.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, so when you say interesting, do you mean that as in, like, how the game was, like, it was interesting in the way that you felt the game wanted to be interesting, or interesting in the fact, like, this is the state that this thing exists in? Like,
kind of both? Because it's this weird thing where the game is like, oh yeah, you're drafted into the army. It's time to fight. And then you go, wait guys, I have to solve a puzzle to get my gear.
Yeah, that's...
Or it's like, we're charging into battle. Wait guys, I have to solve a puzzle to open this bridge.
Yep.
Hold on a second, it's puzzle time. I know you want to charge, but it's puzzle time.
Yeah, and this is something that has been, I think we've mentioned multiple times, once with Sam, and I know we touched on the Aaron Signal video done by Campster, to where the gameplay, the ultimate problem that Valiant Hearts suffers from is the gameplay undermines this.
Again, it's a pacing issue.
Yes. Like, they have this really gripping, really horrible, really sad story, like...
Kinda. Because there is one half of this game that is a very somber tale about these individual people coming together and forming relationships and often and falling apart in World War I. But then you have this pulpy action game at the same time, and it's really bizarre. Because you'll have one scene where you have this American soldier fighting the Baron von Dorf, who is an actual character in the game.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the very next scene with, like, trench warfare and your companions dying, and it's like... And I'm not, like, crying because I'm just confused. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me about World War I? Was it this pulpy, Uncharted-style action-adventure? Or was this sad thing that happened in history? I'm not sure which side you're on, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's this whole thing of trying to make... like, this whole... It seems like there's been this kind of movement of... especially in the indie scene, where you want to make players aware. Well, hell, even in like AAA, which has not been done well, where you want to make this movement of you've got this game of satisfying action and taking down as many enemies as you can, but it's like you want to make the player question what they are doing.
Yeah,
and it doesn't really seem to be executed well.
Well, I mean, in this game, you don't actually make a kill ever in the game. It's all about solving puzzles, and you're explicitly knocking people out, not killing them.
So,
like, except for the one scene in the end, which is a decent. It's a pretty good ending to the game. It does wrap up all the threads nicely, but there's still this whole part is like they're trying to tell this melancholic story, but at the same time they're telling this pulpy story in the middle. At the same time, they're breaking that melancholic story up with a bunch of puzzles that really destroy the mood they're trying to create.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a bad game. It's definitely worth playing once, but it's confusing. And they should have just picked like one side of the whole pulpy or melancholy and just stuck with it. They shouldn't have done this. I'm not sure what they even tried to do, honestly.
Yeah, and
I really don't know.
I mean, the other thing about it was, like, some people had mentioned, like, the art style kind of betrays what they're going for.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of hard to tell a gripping and emotional story when, like, you barely see the character's eyes.
Because the thing is that the thing of The Last of Us, not to go to, like, an graphical extreme, but, like, with The Last of Us, the thing that a lot of people, that when you listen to somebody talk, the very first thing you look at is their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps you, that you use the eyes to make the emotional connection between people. So when you have literally like all the characters aside from one in the game that have hair over their eyes,
yeah,
you're not letting me make as strong emotional connection as I could be. And I wonder if that's a problem with the arts, with the engine itself. I don't know why they chose that style, but it didn't quite work. And again, when you factor in that pulpy part, it felt like I was watching a Saturday morning cartoon that was trying to make a depressing moral message, but really didn't.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing of trying to contrast, like, cartoony visuals with down-to-earth, more gripping narrative.
And if the whole tale was somber, that would make sense. I'd be totally down with that. But, like, the cartoony part in conjunction with this pulpy action adventure against the Baron von Dorf, it doesn't. Nothing adds up, really.
Considering the trailer for the game, I really thought it was going to be, like a somber art game. But all right, yeah. It sounds like it.
And it is in some parts. It is a somber game in some parts, but in a lot of other parts, it's not.
Yep.
It sounds like it's trying to be a somber art game, while at the same time be Castle Crashers.
Yeah.
or something like that.
There is truth to that. That's not an entirely incorrect statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what it said. That's just how you describe it. That's how I'm seeing it. And I'm going,
yeah.
Yeah. You're not
wrong.
you
should play through it at least once just to see what I'm talking about, because, I mean, I'm not explaining it in a really good way, but it's really obvious when you actually play it.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably get this on, like, a Steam sale, but...
I mean, because right now, if you have PS Plus, it's free on PS4.
Oh.
And that's how I got it.
But for the rest of us on, like, PC, maybe a Steam sale or something, but...
Yeah.
So,
don't buy it at full price because it's not really worth $15. It's worth like $8.
Like, I really don't see any reason to play through this more than once.
You're not going to play it more than once. Oh, and that's something I forgot to mention. Like, the very first thing I saw when the title screen popped up is there are over 100 collectibles in this game. Can you find them all? And I was like, you know what? Fuck you.
Like, your replay value is basically just a scavenger hunt. That's
because you know how Ubisoft and their collectibles and how I'm getting sick of that shit.
Yeah, it's nah. I mean, at least you don't have to climb up towers to expose a map, but it doesn't really help it.
But yeah, like Valiant Hearts, it's an intriguing game, but I'm not really sure what they wanted to do with it.
Yeah, it's I give them effort for trying, A for effort and all that stuff. Yeah. Like the fact that it even exists, I'm kind of glad about that, but it's at the same time like what they managed to put out was not really anything not to write home about.
Really wasn't that impressive.
No, unfortunately. So
that was the bulk of my week in terms of the gaming space. So I'm going to concede to you now, Chris.
So I haven't really played any new games this week. I mean, I messed around a little bit more DBZ Xenoverse. Nothing really worth mentioning though. However, I got on a bit of a retro kick, as I tend to do, because I like me some old games.
Because he's an old man.
Fuck off. And I decided, like, some reason I wanted to play the old Punch-Out games. Like so I loaded up the original Punch-Out on my Wii because
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Well, unfortunately, the only way you could play quote-unquote...
the other one.
Yeah, the only way you could play quote-unquote Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is if you actually owned like the physical NES cartridge and a NES to play it on, which I have neither one. So, my resort is to Wii Virtual Console, which they have, NES Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream. Who is basically a reskin of Mike Tyson because he has the exact same moves and everything. And I always try to see how far I can go before I eventually eat it. Like, let's see. Usually, I think I get up to, like, the third major circuit to where you start fighting guys like Super Macho Man and stuff, and then I just end up getting fucking wrecked. Because, like, I can get through some of the, like, the very first fights, like, without taking a hit and get through them no problem. Like, fucking Glass Joe only takes, like, a minute, and even, like, some of the bigger dudes, like King Hippo, I can fucking clear that shit in, like, a few minutes or so. Like, yep, stood no chance. But then you start to get into, like the tougher dudes. I love the fact that, like, one of the tougher dudes is, Great Tiger, who is this game's Indian stereotype of... Yeah, and the fact that, he's this Hindi dude, and so, of course, he knows magic, and he has a turban with a gem on his head and everything. And,
of course.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, the NES game, a lot of people like to point to, like, how racist it is. And the thing is, not too many people remember the 1984, I think it was 84, the original arcade game that came out before the NES cartridge, which was just called, the Punch-Out game, which was just called Punch-Out. And that was super racist because they had a lot of stuff like Soda Popinski. He's the Russian boxer that you run into if you played Punch-Out. Originally, he was called Vodka Drinkinski. That's,
of course, he's Russian.
Yep, that was in the arcade game. Another character that they had to cut entirely, and I know I'm just quoting a bunch of stuff that people probably know already, but, for my friends here, and those of you listening, if you don't know this, one character that they cut from the Punch-Out arcade game entirely was an Italian character who was the biggest stereotype, to the point where his name, no joke, his name was Pizza Pasta. Yep.
For real.
Fucking pizza pasta. That's the name of a bar.
I am Italiano. I am pizza pasta.
It's a spicy meatball.
The thing is, your versions are not far from what the actual character sounded like because they had like digitized voices and stuff in the 1984 arcade game.
Stereotypical Italian accent that no one actually has.
Like I see the clip. It's like I'm a pizza pasta. Like he just, oh my god,
It's me, pizza pasta.
Yep. Oh,
Would you like spaghetti on your pizza?
And I think Soda Popinski on the NES game is usually about the farthest I get to before I end up getting fucking smoked. Although, and what's funny is, and this is something that, because I had recently watched a game exchange video on YouTube by a fellow calls himself Gaijin Goomba, who does some good stuff, and he was talking about how, despite the fact that this is a game developed by a Japanese people, you still have, like, you have, originally this character was called Piston Honda, but then they changed his name to Piston Hondo for later games, probably because of whatever, like, you know, issues with, like, Honda, the car maker, or what have you. But in any case, despite the fact that this is a game made by Japanese people, in the original NES game, and I think you also see this, because I've seen this in the re-release game featuring Mr. Dream, is that between rounds you'll get like some dialogue with them, like in text, and at one point, like Piston Honda, he just says random Japanese words that have no real meaning. He just says, like, Mitsubishi, Kamikaze, Nippon Ichi, like, none of those make sense, like, why? It's like
cars run into Nipponichi's.
Yeah, that's not even a sentence. It's just random Japanese words. Like, why would you bother? Also, there's of course the German guy who's just named von Kaiser. Yep. Now, granted, it'd be easy to say, like, you know, stereotypes all over the place. I mean, hell, even, you know, with characters like Super Macho Man, who are just the bloated ego of Americans. Yeah. What's funny is, because I also played the Super Nintendo game, and the Super Nintendo game, which is, you know, it's a little bit trickier. I need to practice that one more, because I probably get up to... there's this one dude named Piston Hurricane, and he's like in the second major circuit that you go through. And he usually ends up beating me. I need to practice him more. And you have some new characters, some of which are kind of stereotypical, but and again, referring back to the Gaijin Goomba video, is where I guess they didn't want people to think that they're just racist stereotypes. Like the fact you have this big fat dude named Bear Hugger from Canada, but you don't want him to say anything that just makes him outright, I'm Canadian. So yeah. And then there's the Wii game, which I hadn't played in a while. I remember getting really far into it to where, like, the Wii version is where you not only do you go through each and every single fighter up to the very last guy, who is Mr. Sandman, who is really fucking tough. And then after you beat him, it's like then you go into title defense mode, which is where that's when you fight all these guys again, and now they're made to be a little bit tougher. Like Glass Joe actually gets a fucking head guard, like
yeah,
shit like that. But yeah, but even then, like the characters, despite the fact there's some stereotypical stuff about them, the characters actually seem like real characters. Like, it's actually pretty interesting to watch them on screen and say all kind of, like... I think it's kind of funny, the fact that each one of the foreign characters, they all speak their native language. Soda Popinski actually speaks in Russian, you know, Piston Hondo speaks Japanese, Von Kaiser speaks in German, and, like it's not like they tried to get somebody that doesn't even know the language. They actually got, like, real, like, somebody that knows the language pretty well to speak all this stuff. And it's fun to see these characters. Like, it's really fun to fight against them and see them on screen with, like, the crazy shit that they do. I can't think of, like, who my favorite one is. Probably Bear Hugger, just because of, like, some of the stupid shit that he says and, like, when he laughs. And,
I'm amused by Super Macho Man.
yeah, Super Macho Man is pretty fucking funny. Like the way he flexes his pecs and his ass jiggles. Like, it's just, oh man, why? And the way he's just such a fucking complete. It's even funnier when you fight Super Macho Man on the title defense mode, because then it's like Little Mac, he's the big star now, and nobody gives a shit about Super Macho Man. And like he like goes into the ring and is like, "Why don't you love me?" Like, it's fucking great. I love that King Hippo doesn't really speak. He just makes fucking like
roars.
Yep, basically, it's great. And his whole trick of like defending himself is taping a manhole cover to his stomach. Oh yeah, the Punch-Out games are really fucking good, and I still enjoy playing the shit out of them to this day. Even though, you know, like I said, I don't think I've beaten one of them. Like, even in title defense mode, I think I got up to Mr. Sandman the second time around, but I haven't been able to beat him yet. Like, in title defense, it's yeah, I had to boot it up again to make sure, because like I said, most of what I was playing was the first two, which was the NES game and the Super NES game, both of which, you know, I was thankfully able to play on my Wii Virtual Console. Funny story, going back, since I'm going on a retro trip, is that, so, Fight Night, the EA's boxing series of games.
Yes.
Round 1, I think, dates to like the PS1. I'm not sure, but then it was just called Fight Night. But then when they made Fight Night Round 2, that was a PS2, Xbox, and GameCube game, right? Well, the funny thing about those days, if you remember,
yes,
yeah, funny thing about those days during that generation was that the PS2 and the Xbox versions have online play. GameCube doesn't. But we'll give you something else if you buy it on GameCube. Because I remember EA used to do this for Nintendo, to where they had NBA Street Volume 3 and Mario. They had straight up Mario characters in it, which was really cool. Just fucking Mario doing b-ball, as well as I think it was SSX World Tour. They straight up put Mario characters in that. So, but what's interesting about Fight Night Round 2, specifically the GameCube version, as a special bonus, they put in a port of the Super Nintendo Punch-Out game on that disc. Think about that for a second.
Ooh.
So, like, back in the GameCube, so to compensate for the fact that you couldn't play Fight Night Round 2 online on your GameCube, you could play this original Super Nintendo boxing game. I think that's pretty cool. Also, as a side note, for those who are curious as I'm talking about Punch-Out, yes, I do love Little Mac in Smash Bros. Wii U. And yes, it sucks that I can't find an amiibo figure of him.
Oh, you kids today and your amiibos.
Quick tangent. Speaking of my amiibos, take a guess how many I own of them.
Too many?
Well, you're absolutely right. I've bought like 14 of these things.
Oh, I was going to guess double that.
Well, thank God that's not the case. But yeah,
I was going to say 30 for a second there.
And I don't remember if I mentioned this before, because I think I mentioned it to Sam once, and of course he's just sitting there like, yes, you're fucking insane. What is wrong with you? The fact I still want to buy 2 more of them, so I'd have 16.
Now, if Sam thinks you're insane, that's saying something.
Yeah, the fact that I would have like 16, and once I get all of them trained up to level 50, I'm going to have an amiibo tournament. Just make them fight one-on-one to see which one's the best. Because why not?
Sam plans to release his annotations for this along with the one that I'll be writing. So it'll be interesting to see his thoughts on the things we've talked about this week.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You can just lump this into one thing. I don't give a shit. But, oh man, fucking Punch-Out is still a great game, though. That's just one of those things that despite how old it is still fun because there are very few. And I almost hate to admit this, is like there are very few original NES games that I still enjoy. Like, I mean, there's, I love the Marios, I like the Zelda games, I like all those, but some of the other like NES games, like especially third-party stuff, I'm just not into. Like, I would prefer at the very least the Super Nintendo counterpart of this, Like, I'm not gonna play NES Adventure Island when I can play Super Adventure Island. That's just me. But that really is, about my week, just Punch-Out related, and my retro kicks. So, and I think with that, we can call it a show.
I believe we can, good sir.
So, as always, just another reminder, if you want to email us, feel free to email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at thetexturepop. And Sam and Brandon, I know you two you're working on your next season of Interactive Friction.
Yes, we've officially started posting Interactive Friction Season 2 this week, and we have finally announced that we are doing it on Tomb Raider 2013.
Yes.
Because especially when in the context of Far Cry 3, they kind of do similar things in terms of this character supposedly growing over the course of the game from this everyday person into a hardened warrior, but like Lara Croft does it so much better than Jason Brody.
Oh, it's gonna be a good.
So it's worth talking about just to kind of highlight how not only how bad Far Cry 3 flubbed it, but how good Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics managed to do with their game, given the constraints they were put under.
Like, despite how much shit Tomb Raider 13 got for like, oh no, you can't have rape in this.
It is a really good game, man.
Yeah, I like it. I would play it again.
Oh my god, that is such a fun game.
And Garrett, unless you got anything going on,
no. Nvidia, fix your shit.
And by the time this cast goes up, I will have posted an article about Resident Evil 5 and my time with it a few weeks back.
I gotta hit up Sam so we can play that.
So that'll be fun times.
I'm working on trying to get some stuff done, but nothing I can really announce here since it's kind of I don't have all my equipment yet. But hopefully, be doing some stuff in the future. Stay tuned to the podcast; you'll find out what. And of course, links to both Sam's website and Brandon's to read some of the various impression pieces that you guys have written. Very well done. And with that, we're going to call it a show and hopefully have a new one next week. Until then,
this is the Texture Pop signing off.
Good later.
Later, taters.